It's 4 years to the day since PSG broke the bank to bring Neymar from Barcelona to Ligue 1. He's, of course, not with the team at the moment. He's on holiday, enjoying himself after, of course, Brazil made it to the final of Copa America. He's not quite as orange as Jules is. As Jules is with us now after his holiday. Jules, 4 years on, was it a success?
It's a very good question, Dan. I think if you look at the numbers, it's a success because the goals and the assists have been exceptional. Really, the ratio of games played and returns in terms of goal and assists has been fantastic. At times, he's been unplayable in Ligue 1, but also in the Champions League. There have been highs, of course, and lows as well. Remember that the first season where we quite heavily criticised him for the showboating, the fact that he didn't seem to really enjoy playing in Ligue 1. He struggled to adapt to the life in Paris, to even like the city. Now it's much better. But there have been lows and downs too. He's missed more than half of the game PSG have played in all competition in those 4 years. That's a lot of game missed when you cost so much money and you've got such a big wage as well. He almost won them the Champions League, which is what they bought him for. They came close in the final, of course, even last season in the semi-final to a certain extent. So he will have more time now that he's extended his deal to do that. But I don't think you can say it's a big success. You can't say it's a failure as well. I think it's just somewhere in between with, like we said, highs and lows. It hasn't always been easy for him, I think, but he could have made things much better as well for himself and for the team. So hopefully there's more to come from him, even if now he's obviously 4 years older than when they signed him.
What do you think, Craig? How would you sum it up?
Well, I kind of somewhat agree with Julien in another sense. I don't, because whenever PSG now bring in megastars, it's only for one reason, and it's to win one competition, and ultimately they haven't been able to do that yet. So in that sense, you would have to deem it a failure. Now, if you're happy with domestic trophies and domestic performances, then fine, no problem with that. But if we're gauging it on the real big one, that's what PSG want to win, then it hasn't worked out so far.
Is it blasé to say if he stayed at Barcelona, he would have won the Champions League?
Yes, it is. I don't think it's a given at all that Barcelona would have won the Champions League if Neymar stayed. In his last season at Barcelona, they got knocked out by Juventus, I think I'm right to say. So, and that was a pretty good team. And despite the money that came into Barcelona and how recklessly they spent it, they've just spiraled out of all control. So who knows where Barcelona would have been just financially if he had stayed. But while I understand, or maybe understand how difficult it is to say that Neymar has been a failure at PSG because of those titles won and because of his return, the question comes down to, would PSG have won 3 of the last 4 titles without Neymar? I think so.
Right.
And so while he has been simply outstanding,
but they might not have necessarily made it to the final or indeed semi-final of the Champions League.
Well, that's the thing, right? We can't. My point being, you can't really judge it on whether PSG won 3 or 4 titles or French titles, because I think they would have anyway. So now it comes: was he brought in to deliver a final and semi-final appearance for PSG in the Champions League? Is that where they see themselves? Does that signal their progress? I'm right now. I'm saying no. I expected a little bit more from PSG, even if you find the likes of Bayern as they did that final hurdle just a little bit too high to be talking about one final appearance and looking second best throughout. I'm a little bit reticent to say that's been a success.
There's still time. Let's look at it another way. The project so far has been a failure. Not dissimilar to Ronaldo going to Juventus. Not to say that he hasn't played well at Juventus. Of course he has. That would be stupid. But Juventus they had so many titles before he came. Who cared? The project was bring him in, bring the attention back to the club, attract better players, build a bigger squad, dominate Europe again, or certainly for a period. And that hasn't happened. And not only that, but they've lost their stranglehold in Italian football. So I think the project, in terms of what they were hoping the whole package would be, has yet to materialise.
Jan?
Yeah, it's interesting to discuss this because I think it's also a cultural matter of this. Because many years ago, I was sharing the table with Fabio Capello. That was the week he kicked out John Terry at the national team, coincidentally. And we were talking about cultures in football, and he talked about his time at Real Madrid, and he said, "But the Brazilians party, that was unbelievable." And I think that we are discussing some of it here as well now, because when we do the analysis of Neymar, we are now showing some photos of him being a bit fatter than normal. I played in Middlesbrough. I remember back in the days we had Emerson. I don't know if you remember him. He just skipped some games, went to Brazil to see his girlfriend. I mean, so it's a cultural thing as well here. As well, Neymar is a fantastic player. He is a football star. But I think that we are also a bit disappointed that he hasn't taken the last step. We expected him to be up there with Cristiano, Ronaldo, Lionel, Messi. He hasn't. Is a success to go into the Champions League semi-final in the final with PSG? Of course it is. But it's also the point that Shaka is doing. Would they have won the title without him in France? I think they would as well. So Neymar, we're just waiting for him. We just want him to see him when he's at his best. He's a magician, and we want to see that more often. And I haven't seen that enough.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.